Hello, it is Saturday, December 18th, 2021. I'm Chris Remo, and welcome back to the New York Times Crossword Daily Solve. It's a Saturday puzzle, so very possibly a tough one, the second themeless puzzle of the week, and likely the most difficult. And this is a debut construction, or at least a debut in the New York Times. I looked up David Distenfeld, the constructor, this morning, and although he said crosswords published in other outlets, this is his New York Times debut puzzle. So that's fun. It's nice to see. Might be a tough one, though. So it goes on Saturday. We'll just have to see. Today's episode of the Daily Solve is thanks to Funny JK and Patrick Carthy, as well as always, the inestimable Hood Monster, all three of whom are benefactors on the Patreon campaign. And if you're interested in joining their ranks, you can do so at patreon.com/dailysolve, where you can find a whole raft of bonus video solves, including, as of yesterday, the latest week of mini crossword speed solves, as well as also this week, the that run of 5 crosswords constructed by members of the Daily Solve Discord chat server. That was extremely enjoyable. And you can also join the Discord chat server in a link in the description field underneath the video, and patrons of the Patreon campaign get an extra channel in the Discord chat server, but it's free to join beyond that for anybody. So check that out as well if you're interested. Okay, and before we solve the puzzle, I'm going to address a few comments from yesterday's puzzle. There were actually several this time, so I guess that doesn't speak well, doesn't speak highly of my knowledge yesterday. Kathy Swope explains that in stud poker, I intuited in yesterday's puzzle that the answer, an answer to a clue was stud, and that it related to poker in some way, because I sort of remember the phrase stud poker, but I didn't know what it was. She explains, in stud poker, players are dealt a mix of face-up and face-down cards, contrasted with draw poker, where all cards are dealt down, and players try to improve their hand by drawing additional cards. And she, among a number of other people, including Retboy1, explained Himalayas, which was something like everything is downhill from here, and the answer was Himalayas. And I was sort of confused because I thought, well, can't you be halfway up one of the Himalayas, in which case not everything is downhill? And a number of people explained it. Retboy said, I parsed Himalayas to mean that the Himalayas are the highest mountain range on Earth, hence everything from the top of the Himalayas, especially Everest, is all downhill. So there we go. I probably could have inferred that myself. I, for some reason, was being incredibly literal about it, but it was very straightforward. It simply meant the Himalayas are very tall. They're the tallest ones, and so everything is downhill from them. Again, if you're at the top. Okay. Kathy Swope and a few other people also chimed in about SIPID. I had inferred an answer to be SIPID. The actual answer was SAPID. And what's interesting about this is I looked these up after the puzzle, and SIPID and SAPID actually have essentially the same meaning, and they both mean having a taste or a flavor, and they have an essentially positive connotation. There was someone who chimed in the comments and said, oh, just means something has a flavor, not necessarily a good one. But as far as I can tell, in practical terms, SIPID and SAPID both basically have a positive connotation. I mean, you could argue about how strongly positive the connotation is, but they're both basically mean a positive flavor. And SIPID is, as far as I can tell, largely designated as archaic. It's an obsolete word that is no longer in use. SAPID, still essentially a word that's in use, although I would say fairly uncommon. So there's that SIPID-SAPID situation. And indeed, insipid, the antonym of SIPID. All right, Rick DiNatale corrects me, says, whelm is indeed a verb. To overcome as with emotions or perceptual stimuli, with overwhelm as a synonym, sort of like inflammable being a synonym of flammable. So there we go on that. Laura Sexton corrects my pronunciation. I said agi, A-G-E-E. She says no, A-G is pronounced with a soft G, as in gin or gel or GIF. Victoria Rojishka corrects me. I actually corrected myself on this before I published the video. Boba tea originated in Taiwan. That's correct. I said maybe it was Korea. No, it was Taiwan. And I actually put up a little explanatory note on the screen to correct myself. But she says, of course, it is insanely popular in most Asian countries, including Korea. Speaking of Korea and its cuisine, I've recently learned that bop means rice, hence why so many names for Korean dishes include that word. And Jeff Smith explains in greater depth that bibim means mixed, while bop means rice and occasionally food in general. So bibimbap is mixed rice, as opposed to bokkeumbap, that is fried rice, among other similarly named dishes. Added charitably, bibimbap is usually topped with an egg, so you weren't entirely off, referring to my guess that bibimbap, the name, referred to an egg in some way, which it doesn't. And finally, this wasn't a correction, it was just an interesting etymological explanation. Brian D. says, related to revel, which was clued as having a ball, it reminds me of a lovely etymology. The words ballin and baller come from the phrase having a ball. So a baller originally meant just somebody who is having a ball. Delightful. One of many, of course, examples of African American lingo getting absorbed and corrupted into the general lexicon. All right, that was indeed a lovely etymological note. So, after all of that, boy, that was quite a run of comments. Interesting as always. Let's get on to today's crossword. As I said earlier, this is a Saturday crossword constructed by David Distenfeld and edited, as always, by Will Shorts. So let's get going. No need to delay any further. Two things in Broadway's Dear Evan Hansen. I'm aware of this production. I've never seen it, but perhaps it's a two-act. Maybe it has a two-act structure. Let's see. Actress Nicole Blank Parker. I don't know. Anna, maybe that would fit, or Anne. A wonderful review, maybe R. Wonderful review could be a rave. Here we have TV. Yeah, Dallas or Atlanta. A TV. Well, it's or, so this will be singular. So I was going to say TV dramas, but that's incorrect. It would be TV drama, TV. I mean, these are Dallas or Atlanta. TV setting? No. I don't think these shows bear very much in common. So what are they? I don't know. It does seem, I mean, they are both television programs, so the TV does seem plausible. Actress Nicole Blank Parker. Ari, I don't know. Let's stop. Is this really necessary? Can we not? I guess a sort of fairly modern formulation, I would say. Can we not? Didn't expect that to happen. Could start with what, maybe? I'm not sure. What is this? Info for a group of performers. Could be a set list. Didn't expect that to happen. So will or... I don't know. The point of writing. The point of writing could be a... Oh, I was going to say pen nib, but that doesn't fit. The point of writing, question mark. So there's some sort of pun. I assume that the word point will be... So it doesn't mean the aim of writing or the objective of writing. It means, or the purpose of writing, it means probably the literal point. So that I would think the tip of a pen or something. I wonder if set list is incorrect. I don't know. Maybe I'll delete that for now just in case and look elsewhere. Flavor similar to fennel, anise, or aniseed. So you could have a star anise similar to a fennel flavor. That sort of licorice type of flavor. Stress specialist. So here we have another question mark, so another pun or wordplay. I suspect in this case the wordplay is around the word stress, and it might refer to stress in linguistics, where you put the emphasis in a word. So that could be a poet, could be a specialist of that sort of thing, because stress is important to poetic meter. Champagne Blank, one of Drake's nicknames. I don't know. And sorry about that. And 29 across with 51 across, package recipients cry. It's mine, maybe? Let's just quickly glance at these crosses. Furnish with feathers as an arrow. Oh, that's fletching, isn't it? A fletcher is someone who puts the arrows, who puts the feathers on an arrow, I thought. That would fit the number of letters, but we'd need a C at the beginning of this package. Package recipients cry. It's Don't know. What about this? Go out of business. Maybe I'll delete this. And here we have capiche. You get it, or understand, or you hear me, or something like that. Capiche, by the way, the way this is spelled, capiche, this is sort of a American East Coast, I guess, basically Italian-American corruption of Italian capiche, which would not be spelled this way. That has to do with, this says understand, you understand, something essentially, I think. All right, what may come, I'm gonna leave that area for now. Let's go back up. Let's just keep going through the across clues as normal. Goes off. Well, it could be erupts or rots. It could be either of those meanings, or sets off. I mean, it could be leaves on a trip, for instance. Puts on, could be dons, as in puts on a piece of clothing. Buffaloed. Buffaloed, that's sort of like you beat, sort of buffeted something, right? I guess as famously present in that sentence, or what is something like buffalo, buffalo, buffalo. I don't remember how many words it is, but there's as a demonstration of a linguistic demonstration. I constructed a sentence that just consists of the word buffalo, 8 times or something. You can look it up. I'm certainly not going to remember the full meaning of it or how many instances of buffalo it contains. All right, complete a sentence, say. The say makes me wonder if this is referring to completing a prison sentence rather than, maybe I should take off dons, puts on. I mean, it could be airs, as in puts on a production, or airs an episode of a television program. Not so common, extension. And one way to the top. Let's just keep looking. Blank stadium, longtime home of college football's hula bowl. No idea. A spree, a jag, or a tear. I mean, it could be a tear. You're on a real spree, you're on a real tear. I don't know. Without any crosses, I'm not confident enough. Scratch off success. Oh, I should have looked at this earlier. Instant win on a lottery scratch ticket. So, Dallas TV series. Sorry, it was the most straightforward. I was looking for something more specific than that, and nope. Dallas or Atlanta, either one of those is a TV series. I don't know why I didn't try that earlier. This really does look like set list, doesn't it, with that Anison poet? Didn't expect that to happen. Well, darn, maybe? I don't know. What may come as a relief? One of the 2 favored plants of the New York Times crossword. One is the acai berry, and the other is aloe. I would say aloe, the all-time champion in terms of New York Times crossword plants. Oh, I see. The point of writing is a period. So, indeed, point was the pun. There was the wordplay around the word point, but not in the sense that I was thinking it. Not a physical sharpened point, but rather a period, a point. You put a point on it. And then here we have Champagne Poppy, one of Drake's nicknames. All right, fair enough. That's new to me. Industrial department. I don't know. Resort locale east of Snowbird. This is something I think I mainly know from the crossword. I think Alta is a ski resort that looks like it would fit in this set of cells. So let's try that. And then didn't expect that to happen. Well, it doesn't look like well darn or damn, does it? Because that wouldn't really work with the down here. Well, I don't know. Lead into a grave pronouncement. Interesting. Wish I could think of that right now. Not so fast. Slow down or keep it steady or something like that. Eastern honorific, sorry, I should say. I don't know. Could it be son in Japanese? That would put an S here and goes off, which would match. And then an A here, and I have no idea there. Blank stadium, longtime home of college football's hula bowl, no idea. Maybe. Let's leave it there for now and keep going. Princess Blank, main role in Pixar's A Bug's Life. Boy, I do not remember. I'm pretty sure I've seen that film, but it wouldn't have been for a long time. Treats often topped with caviar. Treats often topped with caviar. What is often topped with caviar? feel as though I can sort of picture examples of canapes and things topped with caviar, but I can't think of what any of them are specifically. Boy, that's annoying. Modern day put down popularized by a 2019 TikTok video. Wow. New York Times crossword is getting way ahead of me in terms of pop culture references, I have to say. Didn't used to be the case, but it sure is now. I don't know. I have no idea. Is it something around Karen, maybe? I don't know. Vintage 8-track purchases, maybe. Tapes? I mean, 8-track cassette tapes? I'm not really sure what that's alluding to. Britain's first family of harmony, per Brian Wilson. So Brian Wilson was the principal songwriter of the Beach Boys. So I wonder, I don't know, was he referring to the Beatles, maybe? I mean, it fits, but I don't actually know if that was who he was referring to. Wade in the Baseball Hall of Fame. Oh, Wade Boggs. I've heard of, certainly. Couldn't tell you much about Wade Boggs, but I've heard the name, and that does make Beatles fit. Funeral fixtures. And basic framework. A tenet, maybe? Although a tenet I would think of as being a component of a framework rather than the framework itself. Although I think I've been tripped up on that before, actually, in the crossword. Firsts in flight. Firsts in flight. Interesting. So it's probably not a name because it's plural. And here we have a terrible review. No stars, perhaps? And a film review could have no stars if it's quite negative. And Colin Kaepernick was one familiarly. Okay, well, I know who this person is. He was the NFL player who famously took the knee, but was one familiar. It probably refers to a team name or something that I'm not going to know, unfortunately. Hey man, listen up. So this could be dig this. Given the formulation, we've got this sort of casual, slightly inside language in the sense that you're sort of bringing somebody into something confidential. I think in a way there's sort of the implication of that. And dig this, it's almost like you're sharing something privileged with somebody, privileged information. So the clue, what I'm saying is the clue matches the answer. The tone of the clue matches the tone of the answer. Hey man, listen up, dig this. They're both colloquial and they have a sort of similar flavor. All right. Was Colin Kaepernick a Niner, 49er? Is that possible? You'd think I would know that, but I don't. All right. Separate or separate. Could be distinct. No, it couldn't be distinct. Okay. Firsts in flight. Test pilots, maybe. They would be the first to fly a particular aircraft, for instance. Test pilots. That seems plausible. And vintage 8-track purchase. Tape decks, maybe? Yeah, tape decks fits. Although this doesn't really look like anything, does it? Funeral fixtures. Ugh, that's terrible. And this doesn't look good either with this double A. So probably either tape decks or Beatles is incorrect. And actually, Beatles doesn't look great with this LR. Interesting. Oh, is it the Bee Gees? Basic framework, funeral fixtures. Not so fast. PG is interesting because it's as if these are two different words, but what on earth would this be? Gain, gate, gale? Lead into a grave. I don't really know about any of this. Maybe I'm going to delete everything. I mean, test pilots, I really want that to be right because that felt like a good get. What's at home on the range? And here we have a question mark after range. So home on the range would refer to, the American West, that alluding to the song home on the range, but I think with the question mark, range might be referring to a stovetop. So perhaps this is frying pan, which is at home on the range, on the cooker. So Colin Kaepernick does look like Niner, doesn't it? And then separate or separate, and then we have doesn't delete, keeps in or stays in, or here we have furnish with feathers, right? So okay, with the F, that does look like Fletch. All right, so I was right to suspect that. I think to go out of business, and again we have a question mark, so another sort of pun here. Go out of business. Go out of business. Could be, are you leaving a job? Are you you're resigning maybe? Go out of a given business? Sounds right. Challenge for a free soloist, although this CG doesn't look very good, so maybe not. What about this? Heavens. Could it be the ether? Oh, okay. I don't think this is resign, because this 51 across was the package recipient saying it's something. It's here. There we go. I don't know why I didn't think of that earlier after that Fletch. Capiche? You here maybe, or oh, doesn't delete is leaves in, of course. Boy, I'm missing some obvious things today. Separate could be diverse, and heavens. Maybe heavens is the ether. Could capiche really be you here? That just sounds odd. Maybe. Well, here we have top tier, top dash something, top tier, and go out of business. Challenge for free soloist. So this is a climber, I assume, a free solo mountain climbing. Go out of business. Is there a mountain range or something? Challenge for a free soloist. Maybe this is wrong. So I kept saying separate or separate because when you see a word like this, it could very well be a noun or a verb. And I said diverse as separate, which I'm not crazy about. So I wonder if that was as an adjective, actually. Sorry, I said noun or verb, didn't I? It should be separate as an adjective or separate as a verb. So it could be separate as a verb, and this could be diverge. And then a challenge for a free soloist could be a crag, a mountain crag. That makes much more sense. That works much better. All right. And then here we have top tier, and then, retire, of course. Yes, retire from a business, go out of business, retire. That's better than resign, I think. So they all match better. They're closer matches with their proper answers than the ones that I was thinking they might be. All right. Anyway, kids might make a stand for this. Lemonade. Children might make a lemonade stand. There we go. English adjective that becomes a French noun when an accent is added. English adjective that becomes a French noun when an accent is added. I'm just trying to think of adjectives that start with M and 4 letters, and there are quite a few, so I don't think I'm making great progress. So let's just wait till we have a cross. Nowhere near engaged. And here we have Biden and Harris once. They were senators, and here this is an and clue, so it's plural, as opposed to an or clue, in which they would be singular. So senators, and we have the abbreviation indicator. So we abbreviate it to sens. Pieces together. Slots, so again we have the question mark, so the pun indicator. So I wonder if pieces. I wonder if this is pieces together without a question mark. You would read that as fits together or slots together. Pieces would be a verb. I'm wondering if in this case pieces is a noun. So if we're dealing with pieces that are together. But I'm not sure offhand, so let's keep looking around. Speak loudly and harshly. It could be bark. Pro group, question mark. Yeah, maybe not. Once again, another pun indicator with the question mark. Pro group. It could be the I's or the fours. People who are pro something, people who are in favor of something. Kind of exam with an auditing and attestation section. I don't know. Maybe I should delete that. That's annoying. Sires. This could, again, be a verb or a noun. It could refer to siring a child, or could refer to several sires, several fathers of children, for instance. So if it's a verb, it could be begets, sire an heir, beget an heir. Nowhere near engaged. Could be bored, you're very bored, you're not engaged in the topic at hand. Visibly shows embarrassment. Could be is red. That person visibly shows embarrassment. That person is red. Would be sort of an odd way to it's sort of an odd synonym, but it works perfectly fine. Print examiner for short. Print examiner for short. Someone who examines print. And here we have unit of firewood. And here we have, right, here's that English adjective again. Male. We haven't looked at this grave pronouncement in a while since we got all these crosses. Let's see. Lead into a grave pronouncement. Oh, it's worse than ever, or I'm worse than ever? I mean, it looks like something like that. Oh, now more than ever. Sorry. Now more than ever. A grave pronouncement. Something is at its utmost of something. All right. So there we go. That's nice to get. So goes off. Oh, it could be rants. And so this, in this case, the erupts, meaning verbally. Industrial department, I see. R&D, research and development, R&D. And department is abbreviated. We have that DEPT abbreviation of department. So that indicates that the answer to will be abbreviated to R&D. Well, didn't expect that to happen. I see. Well, damn. Okay, so it is that. And I didn't think it was going to be a D because it didn't look like it would fit here. But it turns out it does because it wasn't. And I should have been clued into that by the department abbreviation, that it's okay that these letters don't seem to fit into a single word because they're not a single word. All right. Oh, Aloha Stadium, I wonder. Longtime home of college football's Hula Bowl. So hula. So this could be, this probably is in Hawaii then, I would think. Aloha hula. All right, hula, there we go. Not so fast. Think again. So this probably is the Bee Gees. And then funeral fixtures. I don't know, ewers? Do they have ewers at funerals? What am I missing? Modern day put down. Okay something. Oh, is it okay boomer? I had no idea that came from TikTok, although I guess I'm not all that surprised. Okay, funeral fixtures. So that's something that young people now say about basically, as far as I can tell, basically anybody older than roughly the age of 30, I think, is sort of classified as a boomer now, which is astonishing to those of us who fit into that age category and are absolutely not baby boomers. Okay. Basic framework. Funeral fixtures. What am I not seeing here? This feels like it should be pretty obvious at this point. I'm sorry, I don't see it. Vintage 8-track purchases, maybe. Do I have something wrong around here somewhere? It seems like I might. Buffaloed. Complete a sentence, say. Oh, do time. So in this case, it is a prison sentence. You do time in prison. So puts on. I mean, it could be ads, perhaps. Oops. Not so common extension. A dormer extension? You sort of, a dormer conversion in your loft? I don't know. It doesn't seem very plausible. Spree. Princess blank. Don't know. Treats often topped with caviar. Oh, blini. There we go. Yeah, the little Russian pancakes, the little thin, tiny little pancakes that you top with caviar. That's a common way to eat caviar in Russia in particular. Okay, there we go. So what is this? Basic framework. Boxes? Bones. The bones of an idea, maybe? Vintage 8-track purchases, maybe. Oh, train sets, 8-track purchases. Is that train tracks somehow? I don't quite understand what that means entirely. What does the 8 part mean, if that's true? I think it must be. That really seems too good to not be it. Funeral fixtures, beers. I actually don't know what that is. Is that some kind of support strut or something? Okay. And buffaloed. Oh, you could be at a loss if you're completely at sea or befuddled. I bet that's what that is. And then a spree. Yeah, oops. Puts on could be ads. This puts on pounds, maybe adds pounds. Not so common extension. One way to the top. I wonder if Bellini. I think the singular is blin. So I wonder if there's a sort of anglicized plural with an S. Oh no, that wouldn't really work because that wouldn't work here. So it's got to be I. Oh, stairs. One way to the top is stairs. Staircase. Sorry. All right. Yes, very good. Spree. Is that a toot? Is that something? Is that we say he's on a real spree? He's on a real toot? Is that something? I don't know what else it would be. Not so common extension. .net. I suppose it's not so common. I mean, it's not as common as .com, but it's probably the second most common after that, I would bet. So Princess Atta, main role in Pixar's A Bug Life. No idea. I'm going to have to assume this is .net. That seems plausible. Okay, I think that's all right. I think I'm pretty confident about all of this. I just don't. I was just surprised by .net. Don't quite understand train sets. Vintage 8-track purchases, maybe. Maybe the maybe is simply meaning that, sure, a train set, it's a set, so it comes with some number of pieces of tracks, and maybe it happens to be 8 in this case. That must be what it's about. Unless 8 is a particularly common number of tracks to receive in a train set, it could be, but maybe that's what that maybe is doing. All right. Alternative to a Lamborghini could be a Bugatti. I don't think I saw this clue before. Another extremely high-end, high-performance automobile brand. Speak loudly and harshly, so that could indeed be bark. I wonder why I didn't look at that cross before. That's irritating. Pieces together. Why am I not seeing it? Hollered, made, dins. It doesn't really work, does it? Crop circles, e.g. Crop circles, for example, that is. Pro group. Is it American Kennel Club? No, it wouldn't have an S at the end. What else? Print Examiner for short. Why do I not see this? Print Examiner for short. It's annoying. Blank me. Huh. Don't know. What is this? Something. I don't think I saw this. Something promoted on the front of a magazine. The cover story. Boy, I really in this puzzle, I've really been struggling with not looking at all of the clues and then missing some pretty obvious things. All right, Print Examiner for short. I still don't know what this is. Unit of firewood. Boy, I can't see that either. That's annoying. English adjective that becomes a French noun when an accent is added. English adjective. It could be mere, so as in just or only that much of something, a mere pound of something. And then in French, that could be with an accent, mère, mother. So there we go. And a unit of firewood. This looks like it's probably steer. Print examiner for short. CSI. Oh. Crime scene investigator examining fingerprints. I'm sorry, boy. It feels though I'm kind of off my game today. It's frustrating. Main ingredient in the Japanese dish tekadon. Is it taro maybe? Not sure. Crop circles. Blank me. Yes, me? I guess so. Sure, fair enough. Oh, maybe not. Oh, no, it's not yes, me. It's yay, me. Because opposite of ginormous is itsy. There we go. Itsy, which was not in the puzzle yesterday. I thought it was going to be. I think I put itsy bitsy into an answer, and it turned out it was itty bitty. All right. What is this? Hollered. Oh, something out. Oh, tuna in tekadon. Okay. I didn't know that, but now I do. And hollered. Again, sorry if you're yelling at me about this. I feel as though it should be blindingly obvious, but somehow it isn't to me right now. Crop circles. Pro group. Boy, this puzzle's really holding out, isn't it? Kind of exam with an auditing and attestation section. Kind of exam. That needs to fit in here. I'm not sure. Hollered. Hollered and crop circle. Crop circles, e.g. What is that? Maybe bark is incorrect. That K is really, I feel as though it's messing with everything. It's messing with this pro group, and it's messing with the kind of exam when I try to imagine what could fit above it. I guess crop circles are patterns. So speak loudly and harshly could be bray, like a donkey. All right. Boy, that bark really, that's a shame, because that one actually I think is an entirely appropriate fit, although so is bray, so it's fair enough. It's not as though this answer is poor. It's just that I was really stuck with that other one. So then what is this? Hollered. Oh, cried out. Okay, much easier when the correct letters in the cross. There's a little tip for you with the crossword. If you put the right letters in, it's easier to solve the other answers nearby. Okay, so maybe a CPA, that would make sense. If a CPA, Chartered or Certified Public Accountant, would have an auditing and attestation section, because auditing is the kind of thing that an accountant might do. Okay, so pro group would then be the I's, which is one of the things I wanted it to be earlier, the I's or the yays. And then pieces together, a suite. There we go. A suite of furniture, for instance. All right, and there's the Saturday puzzle. Okay, boy, that one really held out. That was a pretty consistent, I would say, fairly tough puzzle for me from beginning to end. That was probably tougher than I remember a New York Times puzzle being for me in a while, but a good one. I can't really fault it, except for a couple very minor things that other people could argue with. Not so common extension.net. I suppose it is less common. It is not so common as .com, but it's still quite common. It's not uncommon. So I guess that they didn't say uncommon. They just said not so common. So it's, I suppose, a perfectly fair clue. Maybe it's just sour grapes on my part. And then I'll need to look up beers or beers for funeral fixtures. I'll need to look that up. And what else? This train sets. I'm curious if the 8 track has any significance. I mean, it's clearly intended as a bit of misdirection, because an 8 track is a sort of, at this point, archaic form of musical recording technology. So it's clearly, I think, intended as misdirection, but it may also be true that 8 has some meaning in train sets, I don't know. I'm curious about that. Or if it's just, in this case, an arbitrary number to fulfill the misdirection. Is there anything else that I found particularly tricky? This TV series is ridiculous. This is one where I found it tricky, but I don't know why. I really shouldn't have. Dallas or Atlanta, each of them is a TV series. So, yeah, should have just gotten that right from the beginning. Oh, and I never looked back at this. Actress Nicole R.E. Parker. I just don't know this person, I suppose. This Now More Than Ever was pretty fun. It's a good solid fill to lead into a grave pronouncement, but it took me a while to get because it's quite long, and so it could be very many things. And yeah, I think everything else is fair enough. Heavens as ether is interesting. That's certainly sort of archaic, but fair enough. Things are sort of out in the heavens or out in the ether, I suppose. You hear for capiche is sort of funny. Capiche, you hear? I guess so, yeah. It strikes me as slightly awkward, but it's fair enough. It's equally, I mean, capiche, so it is so informal and so slangy with this corrupted Americanized spelling that I think it makes you hear basically fair. And then diverge. This is a great example of what you get in a tougher crossword. It's just something as vague as separate or separate. You have no idea what part of speech it is. You don't know the sense in which it's being used. And then on top of that, more than one maybe not equally plausible, but more than one at least arguably plausible meaning fits with a high majority of overlapping letters. So that kind of thing is always fun on a day like this. Anyway, there we go. A good, I think, fun and challenging New York Times Saturday debut for David Distenfeld. Hope you enjoyed the puzzle, and I hope you enjoyed the solve, the video. If you did, please do subscribe to the channel. I suppose like the video as well. I never remind people to do that, but go ahead and like it. I think YouTube likes when you like my videos, or at least I like when you like it, because then YouTube will like it more. And if you know someone who might enjoy this, they might want some help with the crossword or get some entree into how to solve these things, then pass this series along to them. They may enjoy it, either directly to someone you know or online in your community of choice. And if you particularly enjoy this series and you'd like to help it become a sustainable enterprise for me, then head over to the Patreon and consider tossing in a few pounds a month or the equivalent in your local currency to gain access, as I said at the beginning of this video, to that whole slate of bonus solves. It's all been up there. We have months of them accruing and more going up each week. And again, if you are a member of the Patreon and you have any opinions or recommendations or requests for me, what you'd like to see me solve, please let me know. You can do it anywhere. In the comments on these videos, in the comments on Patreon itself, in a reply on Twitter, whatever else. And speaking of that, you can find me on Twitter at @TheDailySolve. Anyway, I think that's it for today. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for sticking with it. Thanks to everybody who's backed the Patreon campaign. And thanks to you for finishing this video. I will be back tomorrow for the Sunday puzzle. Probably easier than this one, but a longer grid. That's how it goes on Sunday. So do return for that. Until that point, though, please do have an excellent remainder of your Saturday. Take care.